Hello everybody and welcome to... Yeah.
No.
Don't eat the SEGA logo.
To a game from SEGA.
Taz-Mania. Jova, sing the theme song.
I would if I could remember it.
Oh my god,
Anyway, once long ago, Taz-Mania was ruled by giant prehistoric seabirds. They were so big that one of their giant eggs could feed a family of our ancestors for a year.
Yeah, I'll be quite honest, I cannot for the life of me remember the Taz-Mania theme.
I sadly do for the love of my country, but...
Anyway, there are evil legends that there are a lost valley where the giant birds still live. Eggs and all. But that's only a legend. And off goes Taz. So basically that's the basic story. This father was telling the legend of a big bird, and that sounds yummy, so Taz now is going to go for the entirety of Taz-Mania looking for that bird. And that's it. And that's the premise, basically. So, Taz-Mania was a 2D side-scrolling platformer made for the Mega Drive, made by, if I remember correct, I mean, I know who made the sequel, but I don't remember who made the...
Let me check, just in the meantime.
The main reason why I'm doing this game is because I really wanted to do the sequel, because the sequel is far, far better than this game.
I know what you're thinking, audience. Hey, a game where you get to play as the Tasmanian Devil? That sounds like a good idea, right? They couldn't possibly screw that up.
They do, unfortunately.
Okay, apparently each version had its own developers. This one, the Mega Drive, the Genesis Mega Drive, was done by Recreational Brainware.
That's it. That's
a bit of a mouthful as a team name. The Game Gear version was done by NUFX. The Master System version by Technical Wave, the SNES version by Visual Concepts, and the Game Boy version by David A. Palmer Productions.
That's the thing too. That's the thing too. The Super Nintendo game was a completely different game. It was more like a racing game rather than a platformer. It was more like I guess apparently they got each developer freedom to do whatever kind of game they wanted to make for some reason. But anyway, yeah, this is a side-scrolling platformer, and we start with a desert level, and it has various different stages. Okay, to be fair, not everything about this game is bad. They do at the very least get the basics of how Taz should probably control in a 2D platformer properly well. As in, his primary move is, of course, his trademark spin. Think the spin dash, except you don't have to charge it. And you can just control it at will. You can go back and forth while spinning, and that's how you kill the enemies. Which, yeah, sounds about right. That's probably how I would have done it as well, if I was making the game.
I do feel like he's a bit slow without the spin. Don't get me wrong. I get him not being ultra super fast, but it feels almost like he's trudging through mud every now and then. It doesn't necessarily ruin the experience, but it does feel that unless you're spinning, it can become a drag. Problem is, it's one of those games where you don't want to be spinning too often because there's a lot of stuff waiting to whack you nonsensical.
Well, Job, it seems like Head Games thought the same thing as you, because when they made the sequel to this game, they completely reworked Taz's control. So I'm going to invite another jump.
Christ, we're really doing this again, man.
Yes, we are doing this again. Well, that's the thing that you see. The problem with this level design is that there's a lot of leaps of faith you have to take. There's a lot of times where you have to jump into another platform, but you can't see the platform. So you have to basically, guess or know beforehand where the platform is, and that's never okay in my book. Not to mention that this game is really badly designed in various places. Trust me, it's not exactly a game that. And then you go bombs, and if you hit those bombs, somehow you get points. Yeah, because I mean, fortunately in the sequel they correct this. Basically, in the sequel, eating bombs will make Taz explode, just like a Looney Tunes cartoon. But not in this game. Recreational Brainwave apparently didn't bother getting the memo that Looney Tunes related stuff is supposed to have humor in it. Apparently,
well, on the Mega Drive, the Looney Tunes game that I actually remember playing was a Roadrunner one. I think it was called something like Desert Demolition or something. But it was literally it. I know that there were other Looney Tunes games for the system, but that was the only one that my friend actually had back in the day. And I remember enjoying it for the little bit I played, but. And this one seems to be taking a couple of inspiration. It seems that at least Warner Bros. Gave a consistent idea on how games should.
Why are you fighting Dr. Robotnik?
We're not. We just fought two characters from the show. You fight usually either generic enemies or just characters from the show, the Taz-Mania show. I mean.
That's it, the Taz-Mania show. From what I recall, it's about Taz being in a family, sister, brother, mother...
And having wacky shenanigans in New Zealand, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Why not Taz-Mania?
I mostly grew up with the sequel. I didn't actually play this game as a kid. I only played it later. And I'm glad I did, because this game would have completely turned me off from the sequel, because the sequel has a completely different developer, like we've already said, and it's much better than this game. It's not perfect, but it's unlike this game, it's far more solid experience.
Alright, so can I just say something visually about this game?
Go ahead.
It looks like one of those Flash games that you would play on your computer.
I know, right? I kind of got some of the same vibe, but I wasn't able to describe it properly. But yeah, it reminds me...
Oh my god, it's Wing Fortress Zone!
So tell me, Des, was it strictly just the visuals or also the level design that gave you that inkling? Because, yeah, level design...
Mostly the visuals, but the level design isn't helping.
Yeah, the big problem of this game... Yeah, go ahead.
The level design here can be very vertical, and that's not always a bad thing, but it's vertical in the sense where it feels like it's made that way just to waste time and, you know, pad stuff out as opposed to actually being intuitive, in tune with the game.
Pretty much. What should have been a fairly straightforward linear platformer, like the sequel is, for some reason became kind of this full of maze-like levels where it's so hard to tell where exactly the game wants you to go. Yeah, in certain bits of this game, there will be arrows pointing you to some place, but it usually doesn't help, because the moment you immediately go that place, you immediately get lost again, because there's like a bajillion different ways you can go. Like, this would have worked a lot better, and it will work, as we'll see in the sequel, as just a straightforward linear platformer, but the developers for some reason thought, no. What people want in a Taz-Mania game is maze-like levels. Clearly.
Also, I get that this is like, you know, a 4th-gen game, so not when story was that big, but I can't help but wonder what some of these levels even have to do with Taz's journey to find an egg here and there.
I get the idea that they were more based on actual potential locations from the cartoon, and this game was made mostly for them. It was like, oh, see, in order to go through point A to point B, Taz has to traverse these familiar locations from the actual show. Gotta be honest, I don't remember if it's the case, because gotta be honest, I watched only like 5 episodes when I was a kid of a show, and I don't remember really laughing at all. I thought it was just there.
Okay. Of the Tiny Toon spin-off stuff, yeah, Taz-Mania is probably one of the ones I remember the least.
Yeah, the Taz-Mania show was definitely the weakest of all the of Tom Ruegger's shows.
Give me Elmira Duff anything, but Taz-Mania was just...
You know, she's not gonna be in the reboot.
Oh no, you killed Pingu, no!
Not just that, not just that, Theo. The ice physics in this level are incredibly frustrating.
See that. They're just a beautiful thing to look at.
Although, to be fair, I guess the game at the very least is somewhat merciful that if you fall into the water, you don't immediately die. So there's that.
Because, you know, you're a Looney Tune, you can break out of the ice.
Fuck. There we go. Yeah, this is another problem, See, I have to literally... See, this is my problem with this game's level design. There's so many leaps of faith I had to make. Like, there's going to be a lot of moments like this where I can't tell where the next platform is, so I have to basically guess. You know,
I guess in the case, the fact that the SNES version is pretty much a racing game instead is kind of a godsend. Can you imagine taking these leaps of faith on the SNES instead?
Actually, Joe, that's the thing, Joe. The SNES game is also quite flawed in its own unique ways, but I guess we can talk about it at some other time. They're both really bad games, really, when you get right down to it. Like, just for different reasons.
Also, the sound design is just all over the place.
Don't even get me started, Teo. The sound design in this game is horrible. But go ahead.
I get some things. It tries to do some Mickey Mousing here and there for the sound effect. The Desert Demolition does the same thing too. But the rest, it's so weak. The type of main score, the way the levels end with ta-da-ta-ta-ta thing, jingle, it's such poorly rendered, this type of sound. And of course, it doesn't list here who the composer was.
It looks a bit.
I'm sorry that I keep making these Sonic comparisons, but it's like, wow,
It doesn't really look like this game had a whole lot of
Development
into it.
No, this game unfortunately felt very phoned in. Again, if it were up to me, we would just.
What you're saying is it's a licensed game.
Like, the only reason I even recorded this game was just because, okay, I guess I need to get through this one first so we can do the sequel after, because that's the one I actually want to play.
You don't have to.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, also, Pedro, I checked, it seems the sequel doesn't really have anything to do with this, because it's not tied to Taz-Mania, but instead about fighting Marvin the Martian.
That's the Faint Tale.
What?
That's the Faint Tale. The game was sold to us as Taz 2 Escape from Mars, despite not being taken on the cover. Not to mention that when you actually play the game, you'll notice that it's definitely a sequel to this because it still has the same mechanics as far as task controls are, except they're improved.
I don't know if it was like that for your country, but the judge scheming quickly by the different countries in Wikipedia doesn't seem to list the number 2.
Well, regardless.
To Pedro's credit, though, it is probably for the best that, we...
Sure, I'm fine.
Well, regardless, the truth of the matter is that trust me, Teo, when you see the sequel, you'll know exactly what I mean. Even if it's technically not considered a sequel, it might as well be, because it's openly clear that they took what this game did and improved upon it. But go ahead.
Also, gonna love how the carnivorous plants completely blend in with the background. Again, but it's probably supposed to be the idea, being more stealth-like enemies, but geez, that's overkill.
These look like many Pink Panthers.
They're actually pink mice from the show. Like most of the enemies in this game are taken from some kind of episode from the show. Again, this is a very checklist type of tie-in license game, really. It technically ticks all the boxes because all the characters from the show are there. Well, yeah, they are. They're not represented very well, but they're there.
I have a question
Go ahead. When
are you going to Let's Play the Crazy Castle series?
The Crazy Castle series.
The Bugs Bunny. Yeah.
Oh, those. At some point, maybe.
But, Dej, you were comparing these to Sonic previously. I wouldn't be too surprised if the thought behind it was to, since Sonic was very popular, to use some, the way the game potentially would look and animate and, and potentially play in order to potentially attract that kind of audience. Even the way Taz dies in a bottomless pit is kind of reminiscent of how Sonic dies. What
year did this game come out?
1993, I think?
1992, actually.
92,
1993 was for the Super Nintendo versions, and... oh wow, okay, let me check this, because apparently the Game Boy version is all over the place. 1994 for America, 1997 for the sequel in America, and 1993 for the sequel in Europe, and 1994 for the first game in Europe.
Like, for example, to give you an idea, did you notice that that blow fire move that Taz has? It's also in the well, not sequel, if you want me to call it that. So trust me, there's a lot of stuff from this game that carries on to Escape from Mars.
Spiritual successor, I guess.
That's the thing too. You can tell it's running on an improved version of this engine because it has the same abilities. It even has the same some of the same sprites. So like, if it's not meant to be a sequel, it definitely does a good job masquerading as one. So
I wonder if it's more of.
There he is.
Oh, hello.
That's
yeah, I remember you.
So yeah. See, this is another problem. Why aren't there any more cutscenes in this game involved from the...
Or at least a line of dialogue would be nice.
Okay, see, to be fair, the sequel doesn't have cutscenes as well, aside from the beginning, but it does a better job with humor because the overall the way it uses the characters and the enemies is much more humorous compared to this game, which just kind of goes through the motions. So, oh yay, the log level. Yeah, this game reminds me of certain kinds of logs, but But yeah, here's the problem. As you can probably see, these logs are on 3 different planes. The upper plane, the middle plane, and the software plane. And you have to press down and up and the C button to jump in between each plane. It's annoying as fuck. Because
I can see that.
3D.
Yes,
Hooray!
it's completely unnecessary in a game like this. Like, it's a game that tries so hard to try so many different... Okay, let me put it... Yeah, this is the perfect example of a game that basically just throws shit at the wall and just hope it sticks. Like, there's so many better ways it could have gone about this game. Fortunately, the sequel keeps things much more simple. Yeah, alright.
Roger, this is not...
Nope.
Why did you go back? Oh, to get that.
To get the chicken. Fuck this. Let's just jump through this. It's mostly because the levels are way more frustrating than they need to be because of the... yeah, I think we're about to get to the mines now. Yes. Oh god, this level. Check this out. This level is where you're in a minecart, and you have to have split-second reactions to this level. I'm about to save my...
like Battletoads, basically.
I'm about to save a state, and for reasons that will become obvious in a moment. In fact, I'm going to do my usual pause trick that you guys already know from... There you go. See? Because, trust me, it starts... It doesn't look that bad now, but basically it gets to a point where the game pretty much expects you to already know the entire level design by memory, otherwise you'll die immediately. Because if you touch these things...
Again, kind of like Battletoads.
Okay. Because the moment you hit anything during this part, you'll die. It doesn't matter, your life bar doesn't exist anymore, basically. So, and trust me, this thing is only going to get faster as it goes as it moves along. It's, like Theo said, it pretty much feels a lot like a Battletoads level, really.
Yeah.
Let me just...
Also, I noticed it for a while now.
Yeah, notice how there's arrows telling me, here's the problem. The cart goes so fast, by the time you look at the arrow and figure out where you're supposed to press, it's already too late. Notice what I just ducked? I have to go up and duck right before, so I don't hit anything, see? Like, the game, keep this in mind. What you're seeing is me after plenty of practice, and of course doing the pause thing that I always do.
See that.
Because trying to do this legit, without pausing even, pausing technically is legit because it's in the game. Trying to do this without a pause trick that I usually use for these games is a nightmare because you'll be constantly dying over and over and over. Battletoad style, really. Go ahead, too.
And it's hilarious that Taz is chilling the fuck out in the cart for this action.
I'll be like Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, no, please. Don't insult... Don't insult Donkey Kong Country, but go ahead.
But no, it's something that I noticed for a while now. The fact that the Taz icon near the life count keeps changing depending what the actions that it does. Like, what does it mean exactly?
I don't know, too. It just does. Like, I never really figure it out, really. Like, the only thing that I can realize is that, okay, just eat to refill your life, and that's it. But as for the color thingy, I don't know.
Pedro, if this is half the part, please.
No, it's not. No, it's not half the part. Don't worry.
Okay, good.
Fuck. Well, see, the problem is you have to let go of up. Like there you go. See, the timing for that bit is so ridiculous tight. Like, seriously. Maybe if I still had the Twitch reflections of a 10-year-old, maybe, but I do not anymore.
Or the patience.
Yeah, or the patience. Yes. So.
Or both. Who the fuck knows at this point?
Go ahead.
10-year-old's patience.
Yes, Theo?
No. I was just saying that. But I'm trying to find informations about potentially the actual people, not just the dev team, but the actual people involved with the creation of this game. But I don't seem to find much about it. I really wonder who the composer was and how much of a shit he didn't give.
Yeah, because the music, everything involving the audio in this game is terrible. Like, it's terrible. Which, again, this is another thing that the sequel fortunately improves upon.
Wait, did you say unfortunately?
No, fortunately. I meant fortunately.
Okay. I was about to be like, wait, what?
It's like, man, am I glad I didn't play? I only played the sequel as a kid. But anyway. Alright, fortunately the second part of the mines is nowhere near as unforgiving as the minecart level.
Also because I can see it's an actual platforming.
The problem is, Teo, this level is basically beginner's trap hell. There's gonna be a lot of elevators in this. There's gonna be a lot of elevators, Teo, where you just get on them, and they'll immediately fall to your death just by even stepping on the on what seems to be an elevator. Because, you know, the beginners are totally gonna... And there's no way of distinguishing between the trap elevators and the real elevators. You just have to guess or know in advance, basically. Like,
so basically, it's
like this.
It's an Eber dickish version of Death Mountain from Legend of Zelda 2.
Notice how that trap elevator even had a lever. The game even makes you think that, yeah, there's a lever there. Might as well push it, because it's usually useful to do so. And the moment you go there, boom, fall to your death. Like, fuck you, game. Like, seriously. It's literally the prototypical example of a terrible beginner's trap. Like, ugh. Alright.
Yeah, not even IMDb seems to have a page about this game. Weird.
This game...
That doesn't really surprise me. I mean, this game was kind of one that just came and went. I mean, there's nothing really spectacularly bad about it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, look. I mean, it's obviously not a good game, but we have seen much worse on this channel.
That too. And like I said, I get the idea behind it.
You did the 13 trilogy.
Well, okay, even more than that. A lot of things, but I get the idea. Warner Bros. Back in the day, despite not being a proper publishing video game company, was outsourcing to all these type of different developers video games for the Looney Tunes, because the one that mentioned as a Demolition doesn't seem to be the one that there were several about, say, Sylvester and Tweety, Speedy Gonzales, Daffy Duck, Bugs Bunny had a lot of them, like Crazy Castle, like that you mentioned.
And Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote have...
Yeah, I mentioned the Demolition, but...
The Roadrunner game is actually terrible.
Which one? Because we're actually for the Roadrunner...
Oh no, I have to ask Ryan.
For the Atari, Death Valley Rally for the Super Nintendo, I think. Desert Speed Trap for the Game Gear, and Desert Demolition for the Genesis Mega Drive. Edge?
What?
Which was the one that...
I'm asking right now.
Oh, okay.
Wait, did you play the bad one?
Edge?
Because I remember he mentioned it's like he hates, like, Ryan from BSC says, like, I don't like this game. I hate it as much as Pac-Man 2 The New Adventures. I'm like, ooh.
I remember, like you said...
Isn't that one where you just basically tell him what to do?
Yes. The one Johnny just reviewed.
Yeah.
At the time of this recording.
No, okay. No, like I said, it's...
Death Valley Rally.
Ah, okay. It's not the one that I played.
Oh, great! Another log level! Because
it was done for the Super Nintendo.
The first log level was so good, we just had to do it again!
We need to... again, Frogger, this is not...
This is because there's a frog in there. So.
Frogger for Smash Brothers.
As an S system would be cool, I guess. But... honestly, they're not doing SS DLCs, so it's not too much. But anyway, like I said, Warner Bros. Back in the day was outsourcing to a lot of different teams for doing these different games. Nowadays, sadly, not so much anymore. I think the last major game that there was back in the days, at least the two, were the Back in Action licensed video game and Acme Arsenal. After that, they kind of just stopped doing them. And the only recent one that we got, like I mentioned in another playthrough part, is an actual gacha game for mobile called World of Chaos, which seems to be cool enough for the standard, but, you know, would be nice to see also some mainline stuff for consoles and PC. Or hell, even some re-releases. Like, there's a lot of nostalgia for Bugs Bunny Lost in Time and its sequel. Can you re-release those?
Wait. Bugs Bunny Lost in Time got a sequel?
Bugs and Taz Time Busters.
Yes.
Huh.
Basically,
it was okay. I prefer Lost in Time over the sequel, but it's not too bad.
Alright, so boss battle against the giant carnivorous
Of
plant.
course, it's a video game, so it's contractually obligated to have a killer plant in it.
Basically, yeah. Just do what I'm doing. Just keep jumping and using your spin.
Spin to win. Oh god, it literally withered.
Alright.
So, since you're more of an expert, Pedro, might as well use this for some trivia. So, when was Taz actually created as a character and by whom?
That was, well, that's the thing too. Well, okay, here's the thing. Neither of the Looney Tunes characters too had one specific creator. It was always a team effort in terms of creating. Like, Bugs Bunny doesn't have a single creator. It was a team effort.
Oh,
basically.
okay. So, but was there like a major person, like, that was actually more passionate, like, was more...
Bob McKenson, yeah. Bob McKenson...
Okay, enamored with the character.
Bob McKenson was one of the least talked about of the Looney Tunes directors. He was the one that usually liked pairing Bugs Bunny with the Tasmanian Devil. In fact,
especially rabbits.
the one of the reoccurring gags of the original Bugs Bunny and Taz-Mania Taz shorts were the one where Bugs Bunny has never heard of the Tasmanian Devil, and he starts reading some kind of book that tells about the Tasmanian. It eats boars, mice, antelopes, zebras, and then it keeps reading animals and over. And then, like, one of my favorite punchlines is where he finishes reading one of the pages, and he's like, antelopes, wait, and no rabbits. And then Taz, who's sitting behind him, turns to the other page, and it says in giant letters, and especially rabbits.
Yeah,
So,
I remember that one.
So it was your typical Looney Tunes dynamic where Taz is trying to eat him, and of course Bugs, to defend himself.
Finds clever ways to defeat him, yeah.
So yeah, that was the original version of Taz, which pretty much stay that way when you get right. I mean, the primary thing about Taz is that he's always hungry. That was always there. So to be fair, it's not like they screwed up the characterization of Taz in any way.
He's hungry. He's prone to be angry, and he spins a lot.
Yeah. That's pretty much the basic gist of it, really. There's not really that much to get wrong about Taz. It's about as simple of a character as you can get.
Which again is the thing that baffles me for when they gave him this particular show this game is based on, because this seems to be the character with least potential for an actual sitcom like cast of characters. Even if the joke is like that the rest of the family is actually more interesting and he is the odd one out. It's still the fact that he is the original character that was more recognizable of the bunch.
Also, I think Taz just works better as an antagonist.
That too. Yeah. Well, he was specifically made for that purpose anyway. So, much like the Coyote,
if you're gonna make him a protagonist, you have to make him like a Wario or something.
Okay, I hate this level because of all
it's a literal maze.
Not just, well, technically all of them are. It's just that this is by far the most confusing because every single place looks the goddamn same because the architecture doesn't change in any way. Like, it's just boring architecture.
You'd think that for a game like this, we will give Taz the ability to break object with his spinning move, but no.
They do it in the sequel. Well, sorry, the not sequel, if you prefer.
So did people actually like Taz-Mania when it came out, or is it hated?
Well, they made even though it's not a sequel, they made a follow-up, so it must have sold well. Oh, the show.
I'm checking.
Oh, okay.
I actually don't know that. Let me see if there is a potential reception section of Wikipedia for it.
Well, okay. If I do remember that it never got a full-blown DVD release, so it's
okay. It lasted 4 seasons, so something right had to be done. Either that, or the show just was someone's favorite in the development team, because it really lasted that long. 65 episodes total.
Because I hope it's not one of those. Hey, you remember this show? It was bad. We're Warner Brothers. We're gonna constantly make fun of it, just like Lunatics Unleashed and Scrappy-Doo. Instead of trying to make them better, we're just gonna constantly.
Apparently, the DVDs for the season took a long time to be released. 20 2013 for season 1 and 2, and we only got season 3 on August 25 this year, and season 4 still doesn't have a DVD release. Weird. You think that this will be probably a major target for HBO Max, because they like to promote, kind of like Gargoyles on Disney Plus. To see these series are now fully uncompressed, in HD and all.
And then they'll remove it in a matter of months. Because HBO, I don't get that service.
I found that's of course nice and probably an easier thing to do. I just wish Warner Brothers I just hope eventually Warner Brothers, when they need to meet demand for HBO Max, I hope Warner Brothers finally gets off their asses and get around to remastering old shorts that they haven't remastered yet.
Because it's like, okay, here's the Harry Potter movies, we're removing them. Here are the Batman movies, we're removing them.
Why? I don't
It's
get
your
it.
property.
Yeah, it's not like Netflix where you have a minor contract. It's like that would be like if Disney Plus started removing stuff, putting in temporarily or something. It's not like you're creating a demand by giving a temporary exclusivity or something. It's weird.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, there's still to this day a lot of some of my favorite of the original theatrical shorts that are still haven't been released on DVD or anything. Like the last home video, back in the 80s, there was a there was a big collection of laser discs called the Golden Age of the Looney Tunes that had a lot of discs and had a lot of cool shorts that have yet to make, and that was the last home video release of a lot of shorts for that, because the Looney Tunes they had the 6-volume Looney Tunes Golden Collection, but then they had a shorter collection called Superstars that had some really good additions, but it was a short-lived collection. There's the less to be said about the Tom and Jerry Golden Collection, the better, considering how that was such a complete...
I actually don't know. Like, basically, the Looney Tunes I grew up with were basically these VHS collections that were actually released for the anniversary, like the 50th anniversary of Bugs Bunny or something.
Sure.
My parents actually got them.
There were a lot of different releases. No, the basic thing too is that back in 2013, we got a DVD and Blu-ray release of the first volume of the Tom and Jerry Golden Collection, where they went back to the original sources, whatever ones that were available, considering... Oh, hold on. Boss battle. Nevil, Taz.
Doppelganger Taz.
Taz, you must face the ultimate evil! You must face the evil that is within yourself!
Oh, then the end is gone.
Yeah, the bosses in this game are kind of pathetic.
So, final boss time, I guess.
Yep. Fuck. Alright. Now it's time to fight that giant bird that we were talking about.
Bird up.
Stop.
There it is.
Oh, it's a
Oh my god, it's the boss from Donkey Kong Country.
Oh fuck! It's a photorealistic seagull. What is this, Parodius?
Alright, I will give it credit that, yeah, for 1992, yeah, this is very graphically impressive, actually. I will give it that.
This thing's carrying the shit out of me with attacks coming the fuck out of nowhere.
Now this has transformed into a Newgrounds game.
Hey, for 1992, this was kind of impressive.
Taz-Man the Swordsman.
And honestly, that's considering how some amazing stuff can come out on Newgrounds, some people might consider that actually a compliment.
I mean, look at that. Now if I get to eat the egg... Mama.
That's gonna be a problem. No. Yeah.
You see, this is
guys,
regular
the fuck out. And that's it. Wow, we don't even get a final narration, just the end.
But hey, at the very least we get to hear the terribly composed main theme again. It sounds annoying as fuck.
Well, congratulations, Taz. You made the baby an orphan, so now it's gonna latch onto you.
When are we gonna get Taz-Mania?
Okay, so...
the baby.
New Romantic Productions, Mark Steven Miller and Jim Hedges. Well, you guys screwed up.
Final thoughts might as well. I'm gonna be quick about this. It's okay-ish on paper, but it's still not really I can tell that it's not a fun experience to go through. So it's not something that, I feel bad for anyone who actually spent full price for this back in the day. It's something that you
All
might...
three people.
might want to try out of curiosity, but that's literally just it. There are way better Looney Tunes games to try out there than this, so use better your time. This is, even if you were a fan of a show, this probably wasn't worth your time.
No.
Next.
Jova.
This is certainly a game. I mean, sure, it's relatively fine for a game of the time when it came out, but it's nothing real special here. It has platforming. Okay. It has sound in it. Okay.
That's debatable, Jova. That's very debatable. It has sound
I'm
in
gonna say that
it.
it does have sound, yes. I know that's a tough call, but yes, I do declare that there is sound in this game. Okay. There's color in this game. Okay. There are certainly bosses in this game. Yep. There's Premies looking for an egg, which of course we can't eat because it's actually alive. Okay. There's the killing of its mother. Okay. This game is just there. Okay.
Brilliant analysis on part of Jova.
Jova Hexion, now employed for IGN.
Dwibs.
Well, I mean, the only real thing I can point out is the god-awful music.
Yeah.
Seriously. It's not even, there aren't even any tunes. They're just like, it's just like,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like the composer was drunk and just pounded on the keys.
Ugh.
Seriously.
Ugh.
But yeah, other than that audible mess, the rest of the game looks,
Yeah.
and that's about it really. It's
All right.
Great analysis, I got it.
All right, Deji, what do you think?
This game doesn't look good, like at all. Not even trying to be funny or mean. It just looks like the blandest, mediocre game that you could probably find. And it's not even fun to rip on. It's just there.
Well, at the very least, it's short, so there's that.
Yeah, but it's like, at what point? At what cost?
Yep. Well, at the very least, now we can now appreciate the sequel much better, because since we know how much of it improves upon it when we get to it.
Pedro, I think I have to punish you.
Wait, what?
I think
Of all the shitty games that I've recorded for this channel, this is the one that crossed the line?
Oh no, a lot of things crossed the line, but this was... I gained nothing. I guess I have to invite you to my channel and record a mediocre bad game so you can suffer.
Don't worry, Deji. I'm used to those kinds of things.
Nah, just kidding. I'll get you on for DuckTales Remastered.
Oh, I love that game so much. Anyway, yeah, the game kind of sucks because it's very badly made and the audio salts your ears. The graphics look decent, but the game overall is just bland. Like, yeah, I have to say, yeah. After I only played this game years later. I only played the sequel as a kid, and it definitely made me appreciate. Well, again, the follow-up, if you prefer, and it made me appreciate the follow-up a lot more. Because this one was such a failure. Don't get me wrong, the follow-up is by no means perfect, but you can tell there was a genuine effort and attempt to make a good game. Whereas here, this entire game just screams paycheck. It just screams paycheck for the developers, really.
Okay, can I just say this?
Yes, go ahead.
No developer, no matter how big or small, goes out of their way to make a bad game. Sometimes there are just cutbacks, but setbacks, several circumstances that are beyond their control.
Oh, I understand that, but I didn't say that the developers went out of their way to make the game bad. But I get the feeling they didn't put as much effort in it as they probably could. Like they did the bare minimum to pass the mustard, basically.
What else says pass mustard?
Okay. The term is cut the mustard.
Well, cut the mustard. Whatever. The point is.
I mean, it's not bad. So it's like, what kind of? That's an interesting expression.
Sure. Well, look at it this way. We got the bad one out of the way. Now we can do the good one. So there's that.
See you for Taz in Escape from Mars. I
Yes.
guess.
See you for that.
Yeah.